Welcome to another edition of GW Unspoken. I've got a very special guest here. Explain who you are, young man.
My name's Vish. Gary here was my teacher back in a place called Cloncurry in grade 7. He was a bit of a legend. He taught us a bit of PE. He was actually my maths teacher. And then one day I was walking along a shopping centre, about 20 years later.
Yeah.
Ran into Gary. I was like, hey, Mr. Woodford. Because I didn't know his first name because I only ever called him Mr. Woodford. So, that was pretty cool. But Gary always stuck in my mind as a pretty awesome teacher to have back in the day. So, yeah.
I regress there. I appreciate you saying that, but I remember, I remember you walking past that day too in North Lakes and push and saying, hey, and I went, who the hell, what's going on here? And then I had that real, you look back and go, wow, that was like unique, that situation, because I think you were grade 7 or 8, because a 7 or 8 combined class, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then I remember I saw you and I had you for maths.
Yeah.
And then we got chatting. I think we had a coffee
afterwards.
That. And then you said, you're my best maths teacher. I thought, oh, you poor buggy. You had a very good maths teacher. That's your life. And then you introduced us to your lovely wife.
Yep. And I think it wasn't maybe the second or third dinner we had together at your place when she basically nearly went into labour.
Yeah, because Ma was saying, I think when you guys went home, because I remember you came over cooking lovely Sri Lankan dinner for us, was awesome. And then Rachel's just like, I think she's going to baby tomorrow or the next day. I think it was nearly the next day, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Next day, 2 days later, we come in there and we were one of the first ones to congratulate you on your
little one.
Girl.
Yeah, that was quite crazy, having a kid for the first time. So I learned a fair bit from watching Gary too. So.
And there's not too many manuals to get you ready for that, is it?
No.
There's as many classes you want.
Everyone's like, oh, read this book, read that book, read this book. And you can just basically pick it up and throw it away because none of it applies. I remember when Ari was first born and I had to put her in the car seat for the first time and I was holding her and I was like, how do I do this?
YouTube.
Because it's just like, but I can't bend her or anything like that. And she's so fragile and none of the books taught me this.
Well, I think we got scared into saying, for our firstborn, you need to get the ambulance to fit your baby chair properly.
Yeah.
And so we paid $60 or something and got it fit properly. But then 2 days later, I went for a surf and took it out anyway. I still didn't put it back anyway. So I wasted $60.
Yeah, I did the same thing. It was $65 and got it set up. And then the second one came around and I installed it myself. But we started driving off with the second one. First day driving off with the second one in the car. And my wife goes, she's bent over a little bit. So I'm like, oh, it should be okay. But we pulled in, just in case, we pulled into one of the safety inspection places. And, it turned out I put it in wrong. It was set to toddler mode, not infant mode. She was tough.
And so take me back a little bit too. I know we've gone through that pretty quickly, our journey together. What was life like for you in the Curry? Because I know I probably saw you I was only there for 4 years. How was that time for you?
It was pretty eye-opening because we had been in Australia then probably it would have been our fifth year in Australia. So we were in Melbourne for 3 years and then moved to Cloncurry. So coming from Sri Lanka, whereas, a very condensed population and sort of similar in Melbourne, I suppose, condensed population. I still remember flying into Cloncurry and just seeing red everywhere. And there's hardly any people because the population was about 2,000. And the first day of school in Cloncurry was just so different, hardly any students. I think we had probably maybe 300, 400 kids, probably.
400,
yeah. And but it was really good. It was because it was quiet. It was nearly like kids had to find their own fun back then. There was no movie theatres. no game arcades or nothing to do. So you either rode your bike or climb a tree or make a sparkler bomb.
Find some shade somewhere.
Yeah, do some crazy stuff. Yeah, I actually remember. I think it was my grade 7, so I would have been 10th birthday. And Gary was walking along and I invited him in, and we lit off a sparkler bomb in front of our bats teacher. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, that was pretty good time actually. To be honest, it was in some ways probably better than some of the schools I went to in bigger cities. Yeah. So yeah.
And then what year level did you leave there?
Grade 8, I think. Yeah. Yeah, grade 8.
And then you went to
Gympie.
Okay.
Yeah, and Gympie wasn't great because there was a lot of racism in Gympie, I think.
Okay.
My favourite part about Gympie was probably getting into karate.
Okay.
And yeah, the school's a lot of racism, and I think having started karate, being a smaller kid back then as well, gave me the ego as well. So I'd still give it back at Bullies back in the day.
Yeah.
So, and then moved to Brisbane after that. But yeah, Gympie was probably the worst part of schooling for me. Yeah.
In those upper year levels.
Sorry.
In the upper year levels.
Yeah. So I came to Brisbane in grade 10. I think I started term 1, maybe term 2.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it was good again.
Okay. So only a couple of years in Gympie and then to Brisbane. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then fast forward now. You're there, living in the north side of Brisbane with your wife and two young girls now.
Yeah.
How old are they now?
One is 4 and the other is 2. So they're 2 years and 2 weeks apart, basically.
Yeah. I can feel our listeners right now probably cringing, going, oh my gosh, I remember that time. Or we've got listeners going, I'm feeling your pain right now, but also there's obviously good bits too, isn't there, about young girls?
Yeah, there is. Yep, definitely. There's, I think, still one of the favourite parts of the day for me is because the youngest one, her name's Athena, she wakes up with me. She basically sleeps next to me anyway. We wake up together and sit down and watch Bluey together. She sits on my lap watching Bluey, and she always looks up at me and gives me this smile, and that's probably the best part of the day still, even though she can be a little terror, but that's awesome.
Yeah,
that part. And Bluey's awesome too.
Yeah, well, that's quality time, and I think we try and encourage people in our business to really use those pockets of time you can. You don't have to be with kids all the time, but you get that real quality moments. I think it works both ways because the young child needs it for that attachment.
Yeah.
But as you as a father especially, but also mums too, their bond, you look at them and you go, I just feel proud. Like you can't feel proud of a moment, can you? When they look at you and smile and you think, this is...
Absolutely, yeah. It's the second one's a lot different. So the first one, Sasha, my wife's a lot closer to 2. That might be because with the first one, Sasha did a lot of the stuff when she was younger and everything, like Ari was younger. So that bond between Ari and myself isn't as strong as Sasha and Aria. Whereas with Athena, because I did all the late night stuff and everything like that, that bond's a lot stronger with me. Yeah. So she's more of a dad's girl.
Yeah. And things might change too
as you get older,
Yeah, I know it's always hard to have equal amounts of time for both girls, and it sort of works, sometimes just works better. Mm-hmm. Personality clashes and that kind of stuff as well.
Oh, definitely. Me and my first one, definitely personality crashes there.
They only get better as you get older, I'm sure. There's 4 girls between us, between 11 and 13, so it's interesting times. Okay, so then off into the workforce. Mm-hmm. What's happened there?
So I went to uni, did my environmental engineering degree. Straight out of uni, got a job in Toowoomba, working for government, designing pipe networks. And that was awesome. That was probably the best job I've had. Just really great work colleagues who I'm actually still friends with. And I've never really found that again in any of the other roles I've had. And even though I graduated as an environmental engineer, that was probably the first job, like only job for 3 years that I had that was related to the degree. And then ever since then, it's just been, I'm in the mechanical engineering field now. And before that, it was cathodic protection. It's all engineering based, but it's never been environmental. Currently working as a business development manager for rotating, health rotating equipment. So, and it's actually a really good role. So enjoying it. But yeah, that's probably work related.
The big brains.
Yeah.
Brains those jobs.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's actually pretty kind of crazy. You sort of got to know what's going on. And mechanical side of things I've always been interested in anyway. So like cars and how engines work and everything like that. So that's always helped me.
You got a nice car too, don't you?
I've got a Mustang, yeah.
So you just got to let that slide in.
Yeah. I've always had cool cars. Yeah. It's always been my kind of thing, cars. Yeah. Anything that goes quick.
That's nice. All right, so then first of all, your childhood growing up, and then also then going into university, family, with your workplace. Where's Vish right
now? As in?
How are you feeling right now about life? Like, how old are you now, if you don't mind asking?
I am 34, nearly 35.
Perfect. Yep, nice.
So, I think, look, with life and where I am right now, it gets tough a lot of the time as well. I think with the background growing up, having parents like I did was quite difficult just because they obviously came from different culture, upbringing and everything like that. But the way my dad was and everything like that, there was he had no real emotional intelligence or how to connect with his children or show love in any way. Like ever since I was a kid, in grade 3, I was made to study, and that's just absurd to me now when you think like trying to make a kid in grade 3 study and get told, or if you make mistakes, you're not going to get anywhere in life, you're stupid or you have bad genes. And you just think you never say that to a kid in grade 3. And I think that's been like that for majority of my life, ever since I was all the way till grade 12, actually. And I was one of those kids where every other kid at school would look forward to the weekend, would look forward to holidays, but I never did because that meant I had to stay at home and go under the abuse from my dad and my mum. I'm pretty sure she has bipolar, so she has her issues. So it was a very problematic household with no real love shown or anything like that. And it was all basically like you just existing. But they just provided you this house, and obviously they provided you, all right, they got food, house and everything like that, but that's about it. There was no...
Just the bare essentials.
Just bare essentials. There was no connection or empathetic moments or anything like that. And in grade 11, because I was constantly under stress and worry and everything like that, I had a stroke in grade 11, and I still remember I was in hospital for a week, and my dad goes to the doctor. He's like, should we bring him his math studies and this study and that study so he can study? And the doctor looks at him and he goes, what are you talking about? You stupid. And straight after I get out of hospital, I think I got out on a Saturday, and he sent me back to school on the Monday. And I remember my teachers going, what are you doing back? Like so soon? And I was like, Dad made me go back. So, yeah, I think a lot of that, the sort of the trauma and everything that I have still carries with me to this day. Yeah. So the way I see it is certain events does trigger me. So they probably act as stories from my history, but I like to think of it like bubbles, basically. These stories are in bubbles, and every time something triggers me, that trigger attaches itself onto a bubble that I have had in the past, and it sort of erupts, and in that moment I'll go into a pretty bad place from that. So
and Vish, and really appreciate being open about this too, because it can't be easy. But even how many other siblings did you have at home?
one sister.
Yeah. And did you think she felt the same? Like, do you guys talk about that much?
Yeah, we don't have a very close relationship, me and my sister, but I don't think her background was as effective, but it definitely has similarities. Like, definitely has her own issues, pretty badly as well. I'm pretty sure she's got depression. I have been diagnosed with bipolar.
Yeah.
I have depression, and I'm about to get screened for ADHD as well. So, there's a bit going on there, and that is, I like to think it's because when you are younger, when you're a kid, like from, like 0 to 7 years old is when you're absorbing everything in the world, learnings and everything like that. Everything around you gets absorbed, but because from 0 to 7, like I was going through all that when I was so young, it's like your foundations are just not properly embedded into you. Yeah. So even now, like, because I wasn't really shown how to love or at all, I never saw that and never received it. So now it's hard for me to show it, to like my wife and everything like that. And my wife, like, even showing it to my kids sometimes, but I've learned to never be like that, really. So I try everything I can to, especially to my children, to never be like my dad. So
that's the question I was going to ask you, Vish, because I was going to say to you, like, we didn't get a chance to talk much off air before you came over. I sort of put you on the spot just to jump on the podcast, but I knew you'd articulate this really well. And I know it can't be easy, but I'm presuming you're a man who has got the emotional intelligence to understand what's happened to you, and you don't want that to happen. You don't want that intergenerational thing happen to your kids.
Exactly.
Because you know the effects it's had, like you're opening up now about the effects you think it still has on you now.
Yeah.
So how does that go? Like, you said you can actually pick those moments when I'm finding it hard to connect, or you use that lovely word connection. We know that's the key for everything.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you, I guess, are aware of, or strategies you have that you might think of, or maybe even some barriers you have when you get those feelings?
I think it's hardest with the marriage because there's more triggers in the marriage. But with the kids, it's a lot easier with the kids not to have that, I can't be like that, otherwise I'm going to be like my dad kind of thing. So basically, as growing up and coming into this adulthood, I could have gone one way. I could have easily been like my dad, or I could have been who I am today. Yeah. So I had at least that intelligence. I mean, my dad had a bad upbringing as well, but obviously he didn't have that intelligence there to go, all right, this is not how I should be, but he chose this path. Mm. So for me, I see it as, okay, I had this path, but I chose to go a separate way. But it's still hard. You still hit road bumps that take you back to certain places. And I usually stop myself and go, oh, look, I picture this is what my dad would do. So I try to stop myself or walk away or think, just even in a split second, to try to think how I can address this in a better way.
And does that have does that feel like you're torn?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's definitely fights me and my wife can have as well that she doesn't intend it to be bad, but it just triggers a bad moment in my past. Yeah. And especially when it's related to hopelessness or something like that, even though she didn't mean it at all in that way, but it's received that in that way for me. Yeah. So things get blown out of proportion, or I don't even fight. It really just goes off inside me, and then you go down this really bad spiral of
Dark place.
A dark place, yeah.
And I remember, what was it, probably maybe 3 years ago when you gave me a call and you said things were a bit rough at home. And I shared with you the Love Languages book. And I remember being on holiday, I was talking about the farm with the kids and that, and I sort of walked away and chatted to you about it because, like, the Gary Chapman book was a complete game changer for me, even as a leader at school and hopefully my marriage with my kids. And I remember back then, Vish said to me, it's so tough because I know that my wife likes physical touch. And I didn't get that when I was a kid. So how do I explain, how did I do that when I've never had it? And I find that hard. But I'm also a words person myself. And I get my bucket filled if my wife says, hey, you're a good dad or you're great at work, thanks for providing. And she's not really giving you that because she's upset because she's not getting physical touch and you're upset because you're not getting the words. I know we had a nice conversation about that and it's probably a little bit fluffy when we first chatted about it, but did you find that also helped out with your relationship at the time?
Yeah,
Finding those things out?
I think for a bit it did.
Yeah.
I actually started making that effort a bit, but then it starts to die down again constantly, like from her part as well.
Yeah.
And my part. So I think when kids come to the mix of it, you're so caught up in their lives that you sort of forget to work on yourself a bit. And one thing, my wife's got her own emotional trauma that's going on. One of the biggest one is a fear of abandonment. So, I generally need the time to do my thing, like go to the gym or whatever. But I still get 100 calls from her while I'm in the gym, and that annoys me a lot of the time because that's my thing, that's my time. Yeah. But I still pick up.
Yeah.
Because if I don't pick up, then she starts going into that bad place because that's a trigger for her.
Yeah.
And we try to and that's probably a lot of the time our cups don't get filled with each other because of those things, and then you just add kids to the mix and
young kids too. Yeah, young kids.
Really young kids, yeah. Work full time. You really don't have too much time for yourself. You got work full time and you come home and you got to do the dinner, have the shower with the kids, put them to sleep. Putting them to sleep is pretty hard, especially the 4-year-old. And we still, I sleep with my youngest, my wife sleeps with my eldest. So we don't even really get to sleep in the same bed, and we haven't done for a long time. Yeah. So that doesn't help as well. It's like that point where it's more of a friendship than a marriage.
And I think that's and like I said before, the response you had before about the connection and it's work. And if people think they go in a relationship and are married and think, oh, it's going to be okay. Like when I have kids, I thought, I'm not be like little puppies. They'll just help themselves and crawl around the place and we'll just, no, it's full on. And when you don't give that quality time, even with your significant others, it can easily break apart. And like you said, from both sides.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And I think I'm glad that you named that because a lot of people won't own that. A lot of people who listen to this now go, oh, yeah, I would like to know the percentage of people who are living together now who are flatmates, who just get by and don't invest in their own marriage because there is no time or they are exhausted or they just need a break. With the way the world is, you both need to basically work these days, and this one you've got a really good high-paying job. Stress, children, the way society's changed, expenses, it's crazy. So I think it's a really mature response. I don't mean to be patronising how you said that, how it is work. All relationships work if you're going to actually try and make it work well. I was going to quickly touch on, we talk about innate code, and I know we've chatted offline the last couple of days, but if I did ask you for each of these 8 things right now, and you gave me a score again out of 10, I want to know how you're feeling with these things. I know you sort of opened up a few things when we were talking before, but if I said to you right now, let's go to movement, out of 10, what would you say on a weekly basis your movement is?
It's probably on a weekly basis, actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I go to the gym. I like to walk around. I usually don't, holding still is probably harder for me than moving around, to be honest. That's probably has a bit to do with a bit of ADHD as well. Yeah. So movement's pretty good usually.
All right. So I'm going to get you to put your engineer head on now because I know you love this. So give me a score out of 10 for movement.
I'll go 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just say 0.375. Okay. Nutrition?
Nutrition's probably pretty decent as well. I'll give it a 6 probably.
Yeah, you're pretty good, I know, at nutrition. Yeah. You make some good food, by the way. Yeah. What about getting your own time, doing a bit of mindfulness? I know you said before that you like getting outside of work sometimes and walking on the river. Yeah. So I guess it's a form of mindfulness. What would you give yourself when you're just present in your own time? What would you give your score there?
That one's a hard one because if I am in the office in the city, then I can have that time. But a lot of the time, I'm not when I'm at home. So probably any time I really get to myself is going to the gym. That's like I try to get at least 4 times a week in that. Yeah. And if not, even laying in bed sometimes. Yeah. And just thinking about stuff. Perfect. Quiet room. There's no one else except for the little baby Athena laying there next to me. But yeah, so mindfulness. I'll probably give it because I do like to chill out and just lay in bed and just zone. Thoughts, gather my thoughts and everything every single night, basically. Yeah. So, usually Sasha thinks I'll be walking out as soon as Athena's asleep, but I just sit there and chill. A bit of quietness, time to myself. No hustle, no bustle. So yeah, that's good. You can give me a number or not? 8. I'll go 8. Okay, that's good. Yeah.
What about if I say technology now? When I'm talking about technology is the research is now saying, which is really scary, that we shouldn't be on gaming, social media more than 2 hours a day in total. So I know you're probably behind a screen a fair bit during the day for work. So if we can count that, what about how does Vish go with this technology with social media and gaming? Is it if 2 hours and below is like, let's say 8 or 9 out of 10, what's Vish?
I'm barely ever on it, to be honest. Like social media, I'll probably flick through it every now and then. Gaming, I only just recently got a PS5, very recently, but I only play that maybe an hour before I get bored.
So it's pretty good. So your technique's very high.
Yeah. And phone, maybe like all up for the day, like Instagram and Facebook, I probably put it on like half an hour, 40 minutes. Yeah, good. Adds up to. So, pretty good usually.
All right. Yeah, your number?
I'll go 8.
Good. All right, let's keep going. What about, we've got 4 to go, it's the top 4. What about your feeling of community or connection, like giving back, but also connecting with people, like obviously your immediate family, but maybe people outside of that, maybe your work colleagues?
My work colleagues and stuff, I have a pretty good connection with them. Connection with people is an interesting thing because the way I see people, everything around you, we are a certain vibration. So, this desk here, it's all molecules as well. Yeah. Every single thing is vibrating at a certain frequency. Yeah. And I think you're going to run into people that you instantly going to connect with. Yeah. And I think they're vibrating at a particular frequency that connects well with you. And then you meet people that you definitely don't like straight from the start. You feel it. You feel it straight away. And there's certain people for me that are like that. But I've been lucky enough that everyone I work with, I resonate pretty well with. And I haven't met too many people that I resonate badly with. Yeah. There have been a few, definitely. So with connections sort of thing, with work and friends and stuff, I'm pretty good with it as well because I only really connect with people that connect well with me, really. Yeah. I don't give time to people that I don't. Yeah. So, yeah.
I think the changes get older too, Vish. We talk about it a lot too. Like we obviously don't think we're better than anyone else. No. But if there's people who sort of drain your energy, often down or negative about putting up your downs. We're very particular about who we spend our time with. Yeah. And it doesn't mean you come across arrogant, but it's
yeah, definitely. Because see you can get people that'll amplify you or people that'll bring you down. So vibrations, you're just a periodic waveform, really.
Yeah.
At a certain frequency. So if you're going to meet someone that's at a lower frequency than you, your amplitude's going to go down. So yeah.
All right. So we're going to give that score out of 10, which is that one?
I'll give it a 6.
Okay. What about sleep? Now, sleep is between people our age. I'm putting you in the same bracket as me, mate. Between 30 and 50. Is they can recommend sleep is between 7 and 9 hours.
When sleep's a bit of a difficult one because I think I do sleep, but REM sleep's pretty bad.
Yeah, the
deep sleep. Yeah, because I'm a pretty light sleeper anyway. I probably only get about maybe an hour, 2 hours of REM sleep a night.
Does a girl sleep right through? Yeah.
Aria does. Athena does as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty break sleep, really. It's never good solid sleep, yeah.
Okay.
So I'd probably give it a 4.
Pretty low, okay. And I think there's a lot of stuff on TV now, like watching the footy the other day and all the ads are coming on about sleep and, Brad Fittler talks about the importance of sleep and good night rest. I think it's so important. Like even my patience is so down if I don't get that sleep.
Oh yeah,
and I think we're averaging about 5 or 6 hours now.
Yeah,
but if you get that quality sleep, sometimes it's enough to get you through. But you can still that brain fog if you don't.
I think sometimes I'll go through periods like you can go 3 or 4 days where I've only got about 2 hours sleep a night, maybe 3 hours sleep a night, and that's when you really is difficult. Yeah.
Do you find when you have those? Like those 4 or 5 days of poor sleep that affects the other things like your nutrition and
everything.
Movement and
everything.
Yeah,
you're weaker in the gym. You're angrier.
Yeah.
Reaction time's worse.
Yeah.
Concentration's terrible. Yeah.
I think, they talk about even if you're talking if you're a life coach or even a footy coach or any kind of coach, they say that most people can remember 3 things. So on what's going well, what's going bad, how we can improve. Like, maybe footy heads are a bit different. I know that they can maybe only handle 3 things at once in a halftime speech. But they're saying it's 3 things. But I think with the innate code, we talk about those, especially those like nutrition, movement, lack of technology, and sleep's a big one. They seem to have impacts on each other.
Yeah.
Like we're finding a lot when, it's nothing when kids come to school now, and it's different probably when you're going to school too. But I'll ask a class of, say, an average of 28 kids and say, right, how much sleep do we all have? Or what time do you go to bed? It's 11 or 12 o'clock at night. And then I'll say, and then they get up at 6 or 7, so they get nearly 7 hours sleep. But then they're racing out the door because they've had no food. And they've been up all night gaming. The average person's probably got 5 hours on social media or gaming. Males gaming, girls mainly social media. A bit of a stereotype, but that's what we've found. So they're fully dialed up with all that dopamine. You talk about energy, like you can feel that. And then they're not moving because there's no time. They feel like they're lethargic. So they've come to school. They might have eaten, hopefully healthfully, around 6:30, 7, woken up late, dialed up with dopamine from technology, come to school, race out the door, so they're all, probably in the middle of their REM sleep, no food. And by the time they have them like in lesson 2 before the break at 10:50, I'll say, some of you haven't eaten for 14 to 16 hours. And they're like, oh, yeah, you sound like my parents. And I was like, I don't think they get the basics right.
No.
And I think parents have a lot to do with that. I think we have a lot to do with those kids. What about, there's 2 more to go here. What about, is there times in your day where you feel grateful? Like I know you're feeling under the pump and a bit of stress, a bit of pressure at the moment. You're saying, you're going through a fair few things, we're getting diagnosed and your struggles, and you're very emotional, but also bring up well about the past. Like you can actually articulate that well. Do you find you can still be grateful for things?
That's probably a hard one, actually. That's one that I really struggle with getting. I think that's one where I have to actually force myself and sort of literally force myself to think about it.
Yeah. I'm going to put you on the spot right now. If I said you right now, Vish, name me 3 things you're really grateful for right now. What would they be? What are 3 things you're really grateful for?
My kids,
Yeah.
the Mustang, wife, and my friends.
Yeah.
Oh, one friend in particular, yeah.
Okay. And so, very interesting now, like listeners will be able to see you obviously now, but even when we do it with the kids and even with our kids here, when you say what you're grateful for, you have a smile on your face.
Yeah.
It's hard to be grateful and not be, happy.
Yeah.
Or have that smiling moment. So I'm going to challenge Vish on the podcast right now that he's going to do a bit of homework for me since we're going back 30 years. 20 years. We did it with our kids. We had an A3 piece of paper, and there's a few around the wall here as we talk. And what we did was we blue tacked on the wall, and we had the kids involved as well. Yours could be nearly old enough for that, wife and yourself. And they had to name at least 2 things they were grateful for every single morning. The first thing they did when they woke up, and did it as a family, jumped on bed, put it beside the bed. I know he was in different rooms, but make it in one room. And big texter, right up. With our 4,000 children, we had to replace our sheet every second day.
Yeah.
The kids would actually be excited to come in to write and share, and then listen to each other's. And it just built that family community really well. And it can change mindset. So I wanted to challenge you that for a week, just to see how that goes.
Okay.
I'm not being a therapist right now, but I just know for us it really works because it's got us thinking about, holy hell, this is help change our mind shift, especially those days that we just felt really down. Yeah. All right, last one, purpose. What's Vish's purpose at the moment? Look, I know you're always good at your job. You sound like you've always got work and, one door closed, no one door opens and that kind of stuff. So I'm presuming purpose at work's pretty good?
Yeah, purpose at work's always been pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know if that counts as like purpose of being here though. Like, that's a difficult one, but I think I revolve around work a fair bit too. So, but it's never enough kind of thing.
Okay.
So, I can be really good at, but I just keep wanting more to go higher or whatever. One of these guys can never go backwards. So, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about on, let's say, not working on the weekend? What's your purpose on the weekend?
Trying to get through the day as quick as I can, basically, like whatever we do.
So is there any projects outside of work?
No, not really.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
They just turn into your usual tasks.
Yeah.
That's around the house, mainly. Yeah, no projects at the moment.
No.
I wish. Very hard to do that, anything like that with the kids at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you feel like a sense of responsibility because you're going to work all week to have more time with kids on the weekend?
Yeah,
definitely.
I
feel that.
Yeah, definitely. Because, like, weekends are a lot busier than the weeks, actually.
Yeah.
Because there's so much more going on.
Longer days.
Longer days. You got the kids all the time.
It's sort of out of control. It's not really. We know you go to work, you're in charge.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, you don't have that schedule, I suppose. Right. And I do like a schedule, so like knowing what's coming kind of thing.
Yeah, we talked offline really quickly about it, didn't we? Talk about how even our kids need consistency, predictability, structure, boundaries. Like, the last seminar we talked about the importance of boundaries for our kids and even not negotiating boundaries. Sometimes that's the worst thing we can do because kids then learn to negotiate to get.
Yes. Yep.
And then when their friends start negotiating with them, it could be like I was telling Winter the other day, like what if it's like if I negotiate with you now going to a party and I don't agree you should go there because there's bad influences there. But you say, come on, Dad, just a few hours and I'll be going, and you'd be like, 9, I'll be fine. I go, okay, fine, I can trust you. That then teaches her subliminally that, okay, I just have to negotiate to get what I want. Now, what happens when she goes to a different party or some of her friends influence and say, come on, have a vape, have some drugs. It's okay, have a bit of ice. It's no, thanks, no, come on, just a little bit. Or let's play spin the bottle and if you lose, just take your shirt off, fine, just a shirt off. And then eventually they give in to more influence.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that those boundaries are really important. Mate, you've been very open, appreciate that. Now we can't let you go without having a bit of fun, so we're going to have a bit of fun now. We're going to play the word association game. So I'm going to give you, he doesn't know this is happening, so I'm going to give you a word. Look at that, there's nothing here. I'm going to give you a word, and you can tell me the first word that comes into your mind.
Okay.
And just remember this is a PG podcast, all right? So here we go. Ready for this?
Yeah.
Oh, you look nervous. Okay, here we go. Mustang.
Car.
Work.
Life.
Children.
Crazy.
Your wife.
Love.
Chocolate bars.
Yum.
Lollies.
Sugar.
Gym.
Passion.
Netflix.
Entertainment.
Mathematics.
What? Genius.
Okay. Your past.
Dark.
Your future.
Bright.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you this question. Vish has just had really, really bad news. He's got two things to do. He's got his last $10 to spend, but he's also got on top of that. No, let's do that one first. You've got the last $10 to spend. What are you buying for the last $10? And you can't say the Mustang fuel because it'll last you like 3 minute drive. You can't do that the way you drive.
I'll go down the driveway. Last $10.
These engineers are very analytical. We can see and think.
I'd want to invest it in one way, but I wouldn't know how. Not with $10.
I asked a 20-year-old the other day about this, and he said, definitely go to the casino with pokies.
No.
Not just to lose, let's just have a great.
Last $10, hey? I was thinking buying a lottery ticket, but that's just, probably kissing money away anyway.
Yeah.
So you want to do something that's going to give you some value back. Buy a pot of vegetables that you can plant and you can eat that if needed.
Okay. Smart, man.
Yeah.
Smart answer.
Yeah.
Expect nothing less from you. All right. Okay, last one too is now you have been given your last meal. It can be a 3-course meal if you want, but this is that last meal you're going to have. What is Vish's favourite meal he's going to have? What's the last one he's going to have? He's smiling by the way.
But last meal, eh? 3 dishes you can have.
You can have a 3-course meal if you like.
3-course, no. There's this dish called Cloncurry in Sri Lanka. I haven't had it in a long time, but what it is, it's basically in Sri Lanka they get a barbecue out and they have this thin roti type thing. You can actually get them in Aldi, paratha roti they call it. But you basically put like chicken curry or whatever onto this hot plate, and then you put your veggies in, and they literally get 2 knife-looking things, and they just chop it all up on this hot plate, and then they put the roti in, and then crack an egg over the top, mix it all up, and you eat it. It's delicious.
Nice.
I'll probably make that my last meal.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that could have been your $10 could go towards that.
Yeah. No, $10 is definitely going in. But I was thinking you're not going to have any food, so let's get some heaps of seeds or something. Keep yourself fed.
I don't mind that. Very smart. Mate, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah.
You influence a lot of young men.
My pleasure.
And it's good to hear you talking from the heart, and you're a good man. And it's a tough time. It's a tough time for anyone. And I know what you're going through. I really do, but I didn't have the past that you did, so it's good that you can be open about that, mate, and share those feelings. And, we're here for you, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of listeners out there who you're going to influence and have that positive effect too, mate. So I appreciate it.
Hopefully. No problem. Thanks for that.
Cheers.